there's a little change in format. We actually wanted to have Steven Garu on the panel because then that's where a lot of ideas are shared. Probably we'll keep the Q&A at the end of it with Steven Garu, but we'll go ahead with the panel discussion. I'll join the panel now.
Sure.
So there's already a lot of discussion about deep tech. And with my background in artificial intelligence, machine learning, I got my exposure at Facebook when Facebook was setting up their first office in Hyderabad. I was the first hire for the platform team. And I got to work with some of the Stanford grads who came down for Rohan Murthy's wedding. They were his batchmate, and they introduced me to machine learning. And I realized the kind of impact it can have and the problems we started to solve at Facebook with that. And with now, I'm talking about 2010. And now we look back in these 14-year span, things have changed phenomenally. I mean, now we talk about machine learning, AI. The biggest change that has come, and it has normalized now because of the compute. The compute was not available earlier. The kind of possibilities with the ecosystem that has opened up, that's huge. It's just because of the visionary leadership that we had in United Andhra earlier, and the kind of possibilities were created that Facebook kind of company actually chose Hyderabad over any other city. So now getting started with the discussion, I know everyone has described deep tech in a certain way, just to make it a little easy for everyone's understanding. Generally, deep tech is anything which is connected to a little detailed, deeper research. It's not only AI and ML as our visionary leader talked about it. There is quantum computing that you're going to hear. There is more to do with cybersecurity that you're going to hear about. There is dimension of IoT. So while you do deeper research into anything and solve real problems, that is actually deep tech. And that's where now AI, ML is going to thrive. And that's one of the most demand technology. So starting with you, Mr. Rajiv, I know that if I have to draw a parallel from the days when people have to go into the queues, buy an insurance policy, and worry about whether the agent is recommending something right or not, the days when internet was coming, to today, it's a kind of similar scenario when a disruption was done by Policy Bazaar and the aggregation system was brought online. And today, now we have a similar scenario where there is AI coming out. As a leader in that space of disruption of technology, what are your thoughts on deep tech?
Thank you, Sridhar. Honorables, Chief Minister, Honorable Ministers, and friends from the industry, and guests from Andhra Pradesh and the other states. I represent PB Fintech Limited that runs Policy Bazaar and Paisa Bazaar. And you are absolutely right, Sridhar. When I bought my first policy way back in 1990, when I started my career as a 21-year-old, an agent came and sold a policy to me, and I bought that policy thinking that I'll save some tax. I had no idea why we buy insurance, and I got that policy after 3 months, And the way insurance has been defined today in the country, Policy Bazaar started in 2008 with a simple comparison of different insurance plans available in the country for people to check before they decide to buy a policy, and that was done through technology. So we run a digital platform for selling insurance policies. From there to 2024, as we speak, we write about 16 to 18,000 crores of premium every year, and we spend about 400 crores on visibility on TV ads for people to know why they should buy insurance. Because nobody gets up early in the morning deciding to go and buy an insurance. We have to go and actually tell people why they should buy insurance. Now, having spoken about this, let me give you a background. I'll cover 3 challenges which this country has. Maybe I'm diverging a little bit. One biggest challenge which I see as an organization is how do we promote financial literacy in this country across nook and corner of every village and taluka. I think that's the biggest challenge we have. While Jan Dhan Yojana has certainly helped people to have bank accounts, But even today, people struggle understanding how and where they should borrow the loan from, what is the requirement of a health insurance, why is insurance important. So a lot of financial literacy areas will have to be addressed, and that can only be done through deep tech and AI and technology. I can tell you one small example, paucity of time here, but we have set up, human representatives in about 98% of India's PIN codes who use technology platforms like what we provide to deliver knowledge in the local lingual. So where people sit in the talukas and villages, advising and teaching people on how you should, take a loan or how you should take an insurance. Second biggest challenge, while the Honorable Chief Minister spoke about India's population, we are very proud to have a young population today, right? But 10 to 12% of our population today are senior citizens. 2047, when we are all dreaming to have insurance for all, this number will spike to 30% or 35%. Now imagine 60% of these senior citizens do not have any income support system. In spite of the joint family system we are all proud of. There is no health insurance and there is no support system. So today's 40-year-olds are tomorrow's 60-year-olds. Now, this is the real missing middle. In my opinion, it is important to use technology to reach to every taluka and village and promote people to buy a health insurance plan or a pension plan for themselves that will protect them for the future, number one. Number two, I think we spoke about skilled manpower in this country. Now, if the country has to grow, I think rightly said, the skilled manpower is going to come from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Today, the biggest challenge is on one side, there is a loud noise about unemployment. On the other side, the industry is crying for skilled manpower. Whether it is hospitalization, whether it is insurance, whether it is banking, everywhere there is a need for skilled manpower. And most people who pass out from tier 2 colleges do not have a job right from the day they pass out. So I believe that the government, private, and educational institutions will have to work together using technology to create co-curriculum modules in these colleges in addition to their curriculum, so that when they pass out, 80% to 90% of them become employable. I think that is how we'll be able to create skilled manpower for the kind of growth we are looking at. So if 2047 means insurance for all, 2047 means pension for all, 2047 means a 30 trillion economy, and if the state of Andhra Pradesh has taken the lead way back in 84 to talk about technology, I think this is the place where we can begin to ensure that every taluka and village are adequately covered and protected in this country.
Great. So if I were to summarize, you're saying deep tech has to play a big role. AI will help build that kind of ecosystem where we can actually have more skilled resources and people actually contributing to all of the ecosystem. Great.
So I'll tell you, I'll take a hint from CM. He wanted one entrepreneur, one family. There is room for at least 10 policy bazaars and 10 health insurance companies who become unicorns in this country. Okay? That's the kind of scope which we have. If somebody can think about healthcare, this is the place to get in. We at PB Fintech are also setting up 1,000 hospitals over the next 10 years. And this is in tier 2, tier 3 cities. The whole idea is we need good healthcare system in this country. So I think clearly there is an opportunity for all of you, and elderly care is the next big business one should think of. 70 crore agar aged population hoga, there will be a requirement for elderly healthcare as well. So tremendous opportunities for the people who want to become entrepreneurs from the state. Please look at all these ideas and come forward. Companies like us are most willing to help, handhold, and also look at similar ideas to support them in future.
Great. So moving on to you, Bala Garu. So I know how TCS has changed the whole IT paradigm. Like if you look at the last era of technology, that boom happened, the transformation that we are seeing in the country, and what actually I believe started extensively in Andhra Pradesh earlier. Taking cue from that and what we have just now discussed, there is another dimension. We know TCS in a certain way. Being Chief Innovation Officer, what's the dimension of entrepreneurship? What's the dimension on skilling the startups? And what would be the role of deep tech while we think about creating an ecosystem for startups? Because there is a conventional way people think about services company. which is transforming. And as an innovation officer, you have a perspective on it. We would love to hear that.
Love the question. First of all, I just want everyone to give a very standing ovation to the GFST team, please. This team has done some tremendous work. I believe we should all acknowledge that. Led by Tucker Garu, supported by the Sanjay Gupta and others. Thank you. And thanks, Sridhar, for inviting me for this, and it's definitely a pleasure. So first of all, so within TCS, if you're trying to look at, we have a concept of innovation, which is spearheaded by our CTO. And our intent is to incubate innovation as part of the DNA of every individual within TCS. Being a part, I just want to draw the attention what we try to do and what other companies are also trying to replicate that. The first thing is mentorships. The intent about mentorship is how you try to build that kind of excellence of knowledge and impart that knowledge to the entire ecosystem. And bringing that experience to the ecosystem can play a vital role for the startups, and startups getting that knowledge from the companies which is surviving from decades can bring that excellence and a dimension to look beyond what their product is. And today we also try to incubate 30 to 40 startups every year as part of Coin ecosystem to ensure that we give them the opportunity to validate their solutions with our customers. The second important area where I strongly believe is it's setting up the incubation hubs. I heard CM Garu mentioned about setting up the Ratan Tata Innovation Hub. I'm really privileged to hear that, sir. And we all the way from TCS will be able to support that in that entire journey. But these innovation hubs, when they are all linked to the district level innovation hubs, can play an important role. But that incubations need to be linked with the IT services play also. Because the industry mentorship and industry direction to this, each of the incubation hub can play a vital role. Not only giving the business problem statements, but also ensuring that they're getting right level of coaching and mental mind map, which can allow them to build the products which are at a global scale. Today, we do not have a global products. That's what mentioned by Samgar. But we need to really look at how can we build that kind of a global scale of products which can increase our GDP. That's the second important dimension what I want you to drive that collaboration angle. The third important thing which I wanted to mention is bringing that enterprise-grade knowledge to the entire ecosystem can play a vital role. We spoke about IoT, Rajesh was mentioning about the blockchain. These are all the experiences which are there in silos. Getting that collective play is very important, and how you integrate that for the holistic product. Looking at you take about artificial intelligence, IoT, blockchain, quantum computing, they are all in isolation good, but unless they converge together to solve the problem of different industry, medtech or agri-tech, will not really help. So that enterprise-grade knowledge and experience which is coming from the IT services players, which can be incubated as part of that entire journey, can really drive the excellence and also drive collaboration, which can really sustain for longer duration. So the collaboration for impact is it. So as CM mentioned about 4P model, I try to suggest here 4E model also. Public, private, people partnership is very key for the success, but I would say that when you're trying to drive such kind of a scale, it's important you need to look from the empathy, enablement, empowerment, and ecosystem. These 4E dimensions can really play a very important journey, because any product what you try to develop, it should be look from the consumer angle or the business angle and be empathetic. Enablement is important because the technology need to be available for the people to build up the solutions. Empowerment, so that they can scale the things. Ecosystem, they can truly leverage that availability of the resources to consume the things. Such things when we try to apply, I think sustainable transformation is key, and all IT services will play a very, very critical role in this entire journey to support.
Great. So if I got it right, you're saying the key thing here is mentorship, and definitely there's a big step taken by a lot of academia. I really want to thank all the academia and all the scholars who are here, who have yesterday in our session offered some of those kind of bits and pieces where definitely GFST would love to play a role, collaborate with you, and we would like to do something more in mentorship, entrepreneurship. That's one of the areas. Great. Varun, we'll move next to you. Like from what Nvidia has been doing on stock markets and the rally, that's a great bit of it that everybody keeps talking about. Congratulations on that. But there is a high impact work that you guys are doing in Indian ecosystem. Coming from Nvidia, definitely there is a lot of work that you're doing